Grace Kelly. The story of American movie star and Hitchcock's muse, Grace Kelly, is not too similar to the story of Cinderella. She was not a lurker before her marriage to the prince, and her marriage to him did not bring her much happiness. However, the famous actress and then Princess of Monaco lived her whole life with a straight back, remaining reserved and impeccably elegant in all circumstances. Grace Patricia Kelly was born into a family that could be called patrician, if the case did not take place in America, where there are no aristocrats by blood. The girl was born not with a silver, as they say, but rather with a golden spoon in her mouth. Her father, John Brendan Jack Kelly, was the pride of the Irish community of the east coast of the United States. He began his career as a bricklayer, became a millionaire contractor and a candidate for mayor of Philadelphia, and then, the director of the National Physical Training Center of the United States. The young builder's powerful torso and hands made him a three-time Olympic champion in rowing, twice in 1920 and again in 1924. The family was no stranger to the arts. John Brendan Kelly's brother, playwright George Edward, won the Pulitzer Prize in 1926. John Kelly married his peer, a Catholic of German descent and model Margaret Catherine Mayer. The couple had 3 daughters and a son. Grace Patricia was born in 1929 and was the 3rd child. The children were brought up in the austerity befitting good Catholics, instilling in them moderation and neatness. All the children were beautiful, but Grace inherited the best of both parents: flawless figure, classic facial features, lush hair. She first went on stage as a child at her Catholic school Rainhill. In the Christmas play she was given the role of nothing less than the Virgin Mary. Hollywood and the men at her feet. Being a girl from a wealthy family, Grace could not work, but she wanted independence. She went to New York, entered the American Academy of Dramatic Art, went to auditions and received offers to shoot, first time only in advertising. But it happened to her impressive secular successes. For example, the Iranian Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi during his time in New York showered her with jewelry, which Grace left herself, although she did not respond to the courtship. The first role in the Broadway production of Kelly received in 1949, the first offer to act in the movie, in 1951, although then it was only an occasional role. Her real movie career began in 1952 and lasted only 4 years. Blonde Icy Beauty managed to star in 10 pictures, 3 of them put Alfred Hitchcock, and receive an Oscar for her role in Country Girl, directed by George Seaton. Grace Kelly was the standard of elegance. On her figure looked equally perfect and lush skirts in the style of Dior's New Look, and décolletéized evening dresses, and unassuming tops in casual style, and capri pants. For Grace Kelly's outfits were responsible for the legendary Hollywood costume designers, winner of 2 Oscars Helen Rose and the owner of 8 statuettes Edith Head. After the release of Girl, Grace became one of the highest-paid American actresses. She led a social life, bought a villa in Hollywood, dated men. At one time Kelly was engaged to fashion designer Oleg Cassini, but her Catholic father did not approve of the potential son-in-law, who was divorced. The Kellys knew their daughter could count on the royal party. And so it turned out. From Queen of Hollywood to Princess of Monaco. Grace and Prince Rainier III Grimaldi of Monaco met in 1955 on the French Riviera, where Hitchcock filmed his 3rd movie with Kelly, To Catch a Thief. Whether the 26-year-old Queen of Hollywood wanted to become the Duchess of Monaco, or Rainier she just liked, it is unknown. The Duke can easily be understood, one of the most beautiful women in the world, Oscar-winning Hollywood actress, young, 6 years younger than the groom, and even Catholic, the ideal party. Marriage to Grace solved not only matrimonial, but also the economic problems of Rainier III. he attracted the interest of tourists to his then poor princedom and promised a considerable replenishment of the budget. For the engagement, the prince presented the bride with a symbolic ring, track of diamonds and rubies, in the colors of the flag of Monaco, as well as a solitaire diamond weighing more than 10 carats. On this occasion Grace finally parted with the gifts of the Shah of Iran, distributing them to her friends. At the reception in honor of the engagement to Rainier III in New York Hotel Waldorf Astoria, Grace wore a décolleté dress of white satin from Christian Dior with a stylized white and red flower on the chest. The wedding dress was made in the atelier of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM, movie studio under the direction of Helen Rose. The actress was still bound to the studio contract, and such an important an image for MGM event there could not let it go. Wedding dress was extremely chaste, high collar, almost complete lack of cleavage, long sleeves and, of course, a skirt in the floor. The couple married April 19, 1956. This day put an end to the movie career of Grace Kelly. She focused on raising children and charity. When Grace was offered a role a few years after her wedding, the actress's husband did not object, but the subjects staged protests, demanding that their princess did not do such frivolous things as shooting in the movies. A bird in a golden cage. A year after the wedding, the Duchess gave birth to her firstborn, Caroline Marguerite Louise. In 1958, the heir Albert Alexander Louis Pierre, now Prince Albert II, was born. Relations with her husband Grace was not ideal. Prince Rainier did not leave his bachelor habits and, as rumored, had relations on the side. Nevertheless, Grace did not think about divorce. She would have to be separated from the children. In 1965 was born the youngest daughter of the prince and princess, Stephanie Maria Elizabeth. Princess of Monaco no longer fell into the lenses of movie cameras, but she was constantly followed by the cameras of hundreds of paparazzi. Thus, her photo with Hermès bag, which she used to cover her rounded belly due to pregnancy, appeared on the cover of Time. The French house immediately gave the name Kelly to the Hermès bag pictured. This made the accessory a real bestseller. When Albert was born, Hermès released a silk care scarf with the Monaco coat of arms for the occasion. On the cover of the popular French weekly Paris Match, the princess wore a luxurious diamond tiara Bains de Mer created by Cartier. No matter how Rainier III felt about his wife, outwardly the marriage looked exemplary. The couple vacationed with their children at the sea and ski resorts. The princess was actively engaged in charity work and attended social events. Grace's favorite fashion designer in her mature years was Marc Bowen, who in 1961 headed the House of Dior. He made several dozen outfits for the Duchess, including a bright, psychedelic dress, La Bayadere, made of fire-colored chiffon and a pink polka-dot dress with ruffles, in which Grace posed for a photo shoot in Vogue. In a tight-fitting white jersey floor-length dress with long sleeves draped with marabou feathers, the Duchess was featured on the cover of Jours de France magazine in 1973. Grace ordered jewelry from Van Cleef Arpels. In particular, she wore daytime jewelry from the Alhambra line, first released in 1968, and Cartier. In addition, the Duchess loved Mikimoto pearl necklaces. Grace hardly ever took off her favorite Rolex Lady Datejust watch, which benefited sales of the model. In 1982, when the Duchess was only 52 years old, tragedy struck. Her Rover 3500, driven by the Duchess herself, went off the road while driving on a mountain serpentine. The official cause of the accident was thought to be a stroke, which caused Grace to lose consciousness behind the wheel. Daughter Stephanie, who accompanied her mother on that trip, was injured, and Grace herself was hospitalized in serious condition and soon died in the hospital. Rainier III was left a widower and never remarried.